Hi, I'm Crispin. I'm the CEO of the Coders Guild. We're a training firm with a social mission to improve diversity and inclusion in the tech industry. I guess what inspired me to start working in tech is I was already doing it for a hobby when very few people were. Talking like back in the 90s when Google didn't exist. And so the hobby just became the job, and I started working in web development and app development when there were no developers. So really I was just following my hobby. The inspiration for setting up the company is born from actually a side project. 10 years ago, I was looking to hire junior devs, and there were none. And me and some other developers who were working in similar organizations to me, using the same piece of open source software, we created a scheme to train each other's juniors, and that became the first version of the apprenticeship, and that sort of led me down the course to 10 years later, be running a company that delivers training of all sorts of tech things. Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that when I'm talking about the start of the company, it started down in London where I've lived most of my life, and me and my wife were looking for somewhere to move outside of London, and we went to loads of places all over the UK, and we chose Leeds specifically because of the burgeoning tech scene, and particularly the grassroots organisations and meetups that exist here. We rely quite heavily on our industry connections, which again comes back to the grassroots groups in technology that we support and are part of, and engaging with community leaders and businesses in what the emerging technologies are and which bits of those are going to require training and assistance. Yes, absolutely. I think that there's been a pet project of mine for a couple of years that we've just recently got funding for, which is we've got funding to deliver a skills bootcamp is what they're called, but it's a course in leading digital teams or leading teams in a digital age, and this is something that's been really important to me as there's a thing in tech world of we often get accidentally promoted into positions of leadership without having the guidance and the training to actually make that team run efficiently. And I think there's also, as with everything else that we've done, the whole course is devised and delivered by people who have already done that journey, people who work leading technical teams and digital teams. And so it's a different sort of course entirely. It's much more focused on the well-being and efficiency of really effective teams, rather than here's how you do leadership and this is how you get a leadership qualification. It's more, these are the things that practically work really well, and just trying to put knowledge share and like peer-to-peer learning into that. I think that innovation-led businesses are super important, but I think that they're not everything. I think they're the biggest role for them. I think they're very exciting to talk about. So it's always the new startup or the startup that has an enormous sprout of success is really important for the industry as a whole. Even though there may be really successful businesses who aren't that super bleeding edge innovation, but they're still a big part of what we do. I've got a very long answer for that one, but I won't. But I'll try and keep it short. There's a lot of free skills provision that's available for people who want to do exactly that. My key thing, I think, is think about the transferable skills that you have, and also be aware that a lot of the barriers that you think exist don't. They're perceived barriers. So don't think that because you haven't got a degree or you haven't got academic success in STEM subjects that removes you from that process. The skills bootcamps, if you go to Skills Connect, search for Skills Connect, there's a lot of opportunity for people to get into the tech industry. I think the festival in itself is a really exciting thing. For me, it's enabled me to broaden my network really, really fast. You know, as I said, we moved from London to Leeds. I didn't know anybody in the city at all. In fact, when I moved here, the only person I knew moved to Manchester. So, to start that network, the festival really gave me a good in to broadening that in a lot of areas that were kind of outside my immediate sphere. So being coming from web app development, then I also got into testing and into agile. So all the different communities coming together. I think the main benefits are going to be about having that all year round provision and having a single point where we can go to for the information and finding out about different events and things that are going on. I think that's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I think for the influences, I'd like to choose two people rather than one, and they're both young men who were in the first version, the prototype version of the apprenticeship that we ran. Mohammed was a young man with no qualifications whatsoever, no GCSEs, absolutely nothing, but an enormous amount of drive. And for him to, he had to do additional work and get additional qualifications in order to pass the apprenticeship that he did. But he's got a great career now. He runs DevOps for LVMH, and previous to that, he worked doing DevOps stuff for Tesco's. That's a big site to keep running. And Jack Holding was a contemporary of his in the same group, and Jack was actually our apprentice that we took on at our firm, and he's now a senior software engineer at Manifesto. And I think it's their success really that's kind of inspired me to move into the training world full time. I think the first part of that is when we're talking about the tech industry in Leeds specifically. Another one of the reasons that I chose to come and live in Leeds was the enormous catchment area of Leeds city area, as in that talent pipeline is enormous. And the levelling up agenda, if pursued correctly, that it's removing barriers from that talent pipeline. The people that we need to make this thrive, to make this work, they're already there. We just need to create that pathway. And I think, work around the levelling up agenda and creating those alternative pathways into the tech industry for people is absolutely vital.